Hello everyone, I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our featured fight for UFC Perf. In this one, we have Jack Jenkins versus Roman Taveras. Before I even get this to this, I think this is my favorite fight on the card, besides the main event obviously, and for my money, I think it could be fight of the night. Just how these two fight, just how they have violent intention with their strikes, I think it's going to be an awesome clash. Looking at Jack Jenkins, he's 13-4 as a professional, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, while Taveras is 10-3 as a professional, similar 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Looking at Jenkins, overall he has had a pretty good UFC run right now, beating Jamal Emmers. Then he lost to Chepe Mariscal, where he had suffered a massive shoulder injury. Then in his return, he absolutely destroyed Herbert Burns. I mean, it was not competitive whatsoever, in my opinion. Then in his most recent outing, UFC 312 this February, he got submitted by Gabriel Santos, where I don't think that was too big of a loss. I think Gabriel Santos is a very good prospect in the featherweight division. He was just simply the better man. As for Roman Taveras, it's been interesting looking at his run so far in UFC plus the Contender Series. So in the Contender Series, he lost via, I do believe, a premature stoppage to Saeed City. Then he wins his second attempt in the Contender Series against Cortamius Romius. Then wins his debut in the rematch against Saeed City in a split decision where I thought he lost, to be honest. And then lost in his second outing to Davey Grant. But Davey Grant's such a wily veteran and such a good prospect killer. It's not something to take lightly. Now I take that back. It's not something to really frown upon because Davey Grant's really good. Now, interesting aspect is Roman Taveras has been a career bantamweight throughout basically his entire MMA run. This will be his first time fighting at featherweight, and I suppose it makes sense. I know he has said, and at times he's looked pretty depleted at 135, so I suppose this move up to 145 made sense. Plus, given his skills, I suppose this division would be much more compatible with his skill set in comparison to these much more diverse in offense and much faster moving bantamweights. Looking at their overall skill, both these guys have one thing in common. They are excellent boxers. Jack Jenkins, he has great body head combos. Watching his boxing is truly beautiful. Starts with the head, goes to the body, ends with the head again. He has great combos. Same with Taveras. I say he has a bit more pop than Jenkins. I've seen him hurt more of his opponents with his right hand. But at the same time, though, featherweights I think are a little bit more durable. But again, it's really how you really play into it. I do still think Taveras has a bit more power than Jenkins. Hence, while at the same time, I think Jenkins hits with a bit more volume and strings his combinations together much better. That being said, Jack Jenkins has a secret weapon for me. His kicks. This guy kicks like a horse. Whether it's those crippling calf kicks or those sudden head kicks he throws. When you watch that Gabriel Santos fight, he just threw like a switch kick out of nowhere. Clunk. Hit Gabriel Santos on the head and dropped him. He's got tremendously powerful kicks. I don't want it to be overdone, but you get my idea. Taveras, I wouldn't say he has those type of weapons. Honestly, his offense is pretty limited. It is mostly his boxing, and even then, it's more so in line with the right hand. But, again, he hits with a tremendous amount of power, in my opinion. Now, in terms of grappling, I say Jenkins for sure has that department. He has shown to pivot towards wrestling more often and has been proven successful in that avenue. And he's even hanged with high-level grapplers like Herbert Burns. Say what you want about him, he is still a high-level grappler. And up until the submission and, getting called into half Nelson and whatnot, he was doing pretty well surviving the grappling attacks of Gabriel Santos. As well as Jamal Emmers, who's a big featherweight. Now, looking at their overall specs, not kind of interesting, I suppose. 5'7" and a 68-inch reach for Jenkins, to 5'8" and 70-inch reach advance for Taveras. So even with him coming up from the weight class below, he's seemingly going to be the bigger man, or at least bigger in his attributes, even if they're not too crazy, 1-inch height difference, 2-inch reach advantage. It's not too crazy, but still, the man, as supposedly the shorter man coming up from the weight class, he's going to seemingly be a little bit bigger. Honestly, like I said, I think this is fight of the night. I really do. I see both these guys laying it on each other with vicious combinations, hurting each other both. Whether it's like Jack Jenkins starting to unload with those kicks and boxing combos, or Taveras catching him with the right hand and or a left hook. Just in general, well, hitting Jenkins with some very hard shots, possibly shots that could drop him, if not knock him out for sure. Now, the odds for the fight, they're pretty lopsided. Minus 300 for Jenkins, plus 240 for Taveras. I suppose it makes sense, as I feel like Jenkins has beaten better competition, and even the losses, they're pretty much the same as Taveras' losses. Like, his loss to Davy Grant is very much, for me, the same as losing to a Roman Taveras and a Chepe Mariscal. While I think, like, beating Jamal Emmers is significantly better than Roman Taveras' wins. And even then, like, you look at Taveras' win in the UFC, I don't think he beat Saeed City. And it showed, like I said, the biggest weakness he has limited offense. Now, you can have certain limited offenses and still be of a high level. But if you're just relying on your right hand and you're looking for the kill shot, like I said, he has good combos, but oftentimes he tries to finish and or does single shots with his right hand. That's not exactly the best strategy, especially against the elite fighters who will suspect you to try and hit that one perfect shot to change the fight. Most of the time, the elite guys are too smart for that. And I think Jack Jenkins is that level. I think he has good fight IQ. I don't think he's going to get caught. And I just see him... It's something I always say with certain fights like this. The guy with more weapons, I think, wins. Because they have more paths to victory. In the case of Jenkins, let's say he doesn't entertain the striking too much. He has the wrestling in his back pocket that will give Taveras trouble. And while Taveras has some wrestling, it's not crazy. It's not, like, mind-blowing for me. And while I can't say Jack Jenkins is some D1 All-American or like Dagestan like a wrestler, he at least has it in his back pocket, and he's been effective with them. But again, I think this is going to be really fun. I honestly expect these guys to mostly fight in the center of the octagon, if not up against the cage, like one of them throwing out combos left and right, trying to finish the other guy. Then the other one just starts coming back, lands some elbows, fight back, throwing some big hammering kicks, something like that. I see these two going after each other for the full 15 minutes, if it goes that long. But for my prediction, I'm going to go with Jack Jenkins. I think he's going to win the decision. Roman Taveras is shown to be pretty tough. He's looking at some big shots from like Davy Grant and Saeed City, even in the regional scenes. And like, I know you can say, well, he got TKO'd. I thought the Saeed City fight was a premature stoppage. I did. But, and also Jack Jenkins proven, well, he has some good power to him. As I said before, I think Taveras does hit harder, and I don't think Jack Jenkins has that type of finishing ability in this fight. But who knows? Maybe, well, of course, it's a fight at the end of the day, and one well-placed shot can shut your lights out. If, of course, you have enough power and the good timing and whatnot. But, yeah, I think the decision is correct. I'm going to go with Jack Jenkins, and again, I think he's going to win via decision. I can see it 29-28, but I'm mostly leaning towards 30-27. I just think he's going to be better overall, but it's going to be really, really fun scrap. Now, that being said, that have been my predictions for this fight. If you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this matchup. Do you think this is fight of the night? If not, tell me why, and tell me what you think will be fight of the night. And next up, we'll have our co-main event in Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Erslan. But with that being said, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. I thank you all for listening. Take care.